Hi, welcome to the MGL podcast. This podcast is about our lives as missionaries of God's love. Hi everyone, welcome to the MGL podcast. My name is Father Justin.
And I am Father Chris.
And this is our guest, Fr Baiju Thomas, and we're here today for this episode on the Father's love. The Father's love is a huge topic. We're missionaries of God's love, and this is such an important topic, so it's great to be with you. Firstly, I thought we could introduce Fr Baiju. Fr Baiju, where are you placed at the moment?
At the moment, I'm in Canberra.
Canberra, that's good.
Yes, it's a good place. And I think most of my priestly life I was in Canberra, except for 1 year.
Oh,
At the moment, I'm looking after the pre-novitiate of Missionaries of God's Love.
which is like the first year.
First year.
Yeah,
First
the
year.
formation.
First year of formation.
Yeah, so he's doing a good job here with the young guys. But where are you from originally?
I'm from India originally, and recently only I became an Australian citizen.
Oh,
So-
congratulations.
Congratulations,
So
man.
I'm an Indian
Like
Australian
Chris.
at the moment.
So me, I'm a Kiwi, but I'm now an Australian as well.
Yes, so you could call me an Indian Australian now.
Oh,
So, born in southern part of India, a state called Kerala, and yeah, that's where I come from. And I
What-
came to Australia in 2008 to join the Missionaries of God's Love.
2008. I think
Yeah.
I remember you actually in 2008.
Yes.
And what language do you speak? Languages?
My mother tongue is Malayalam,
Malayalam.
and I can read and write few other languages,
Wow.
but I haven't mastered any of them.
Oh, that's great.
I haven't mastered. So English.
It's all good, it's all good.
English is good though. English is very good. This topic's really important, and it's so great because you have such an interesting background, and like you grew up in a different world to here.
Yes.
And in Australia you might not have experienced something like this, so it's really great to have you on and just to talk about a bit about your background. And so we might just get started straight into it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Like what was it like growing up in India?
Well, most of my life was in an orphanage.
Oh, right.
So I lived with my parents. I don't have a very good memory of my dad, but I lived with my mom till I was 7 years old. And after that, I was taken to this boys' home run by Vincentian Fathers, and till I came to Australia.
So like the Vincentian Fathers, are they like a religious or like a Catholic religious
Yeah,
order?
the Catholic religious order is called Vincentian Congregation,
Hmm.
and they are charismatic priests as well as they do charitable institutions like the orphanages. And
Wow.
so I was brought up by Vincentian Fathers, in fact.
Wow.
So most of my life was in that orphanage. Thinking of that, it wasn't that bad. Like, of course, I missed my family, missed that closeness of a family, but we were 55 to 60 students every year. And
Each year group?
each year, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And once they pass year 10, they will go back to their family if they have families, or different other occupations if they choose that way. And I did my year 12 there.
Oh.
And so nearly 13 years I was part of that orphanage.
13 years, yeah. So that would mean you would have, how old? 7 years old?
7 years.
7 years old, wow. So you spent basically all your childhood
That's
into
right.
teenage
Yeah,
years
yeah,
to,
And yeah.
wow. And what was it like being in an orphanage situation, like how is the, the 60 to 70, it was 55 to 60?
Yeah, 55 to 60 students.
So you're just surrounded by people all the time.
That's right. So you wouldn't feel so much loneliness. I mean, at times you feel internally lonely, but the life was sort of the survival of the fittest, because you have to, in order to come up, you have to perform well among these 55 to 60 peers.
Like
And,
academically.
that's
or
right,
something.
academically or any other ways. So you have to show that you are capable of things, and so there was an atmosphere of competition there. But at the same time, our priests were very good to us, and they were very young priests, because most of my directors they became directors there after their first year of ordination or second year, or the maximum 4 years after ordination. So most of them were very, very young. Therefore, they had a good heart for us. And it's funny, sometimes people think, because when you see in the movies or read the novels, you think of orphanage as a very bad place.
Yeah.
People finding a lot of wounds. But then my experience was quite contrary to that. Child welfare was, that kind of scheme of the government scheme was going quite strongly in India. Therefore,
Right.
the atmosphere became quite cordial for us in that regard, and so we benefited from that. And I mean, if I ask some of the senior students, those who studied there, some of them had some bad experiences in the past, but
Yeah.
by the time the time runs, it became quite better. So, and I
Wow.
joined around that time, and the Vincentian congregation consciously put young priests, those who are quite capable of, because we had only one priest to look after us.
Per year group or something, or
Yeah,
or is the whole thing?
the whole thing.
Oh,
It's
wow.
around one priest and one brother who was, we call regent brother, because it was a time of regency, 1 year.
Oh,
of the
like a
seminary.
mission training
Mission
for
training,
the
yeah.
seminary, wasn't it? Yeah. Great.
And the good thing was the Vincentian congregation's novitiate house was also in the same place.
Wow.
So we could see the novices, the seminarians, and the
young priests coming through.
That's right. And so that also shaped my spirituality, my desire to become priest, because brought up by priests, and also seeing the novitiate house there, the young seminarians in the novitiate, and that was a blessing. One thing, I had that privilege of seeing the raw side of a priest, what we call the human side of a priest, because priests were living with us, and so they were living like one of us. And when we play football, they used to play with us, and
so it wasn't like you saw the priest only on the altar.
No. And we could see the the real life, and also when we work in the field, they were also working with us, and so they were they were with us in everything. So I could see that human side of the priest, as well as because they were retreat preachers, and when they do their sacraments and retreats, we could see the other side of the priesthood as well. I was really taken in by that. Both human side and the sacramental side of the priesthood I could see in my priests, and they were sort of my father figures, I could learn from them, and so the desire to become priest grew with me. And so everyone was quite encouraging that till I passed my year 12. Then only I came to know it's not that easy for me to be a priest in my culture, because the cultural expectations around the candidate for the priesthood was quite different, that you have to come from a properly functioning...
Because you're an orphan.
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had to come from a very properly functioning family, not a dysfunctional family, and the family should be in faith, practicing faith, and there are number of cultural expectations around the candidate.
So you wouldn't have been able to become a priest?
No, because I didn't know if my parents, I didn't live with my parents, and my dad died when I was nearly 3 years old. And but before that they were separated, unofficially separated. Mom was living with her family, and dad was with his family, and a separation in the family, so the family was not well knit together. And also my parents' faith practicing background, I could improve that. They were good Catholics. A number of other elements around the family background. So I joined a seminary, and but after 1 year they said I can't continue because of my family history and background is not that fitting to go on to become a priest. And so I left the seminary and came back to the orphanage. I started writing to different religious orders and dioceses, expressing my desire, and I got none of them were willing to take me in. So initially I started losing the hope. So I was looking for religious communities, and I wrote to a few of them, but they all had their presence or branches in India. So they gave me the Indian address, and I wrote to them, and I got the normal
answer. Yeah.
yes. So then they were not willing to take me in. So I thought, well, this time I will try a religious order that's only in Australia, not in India.
Yeah, okay.
And that's how I came across with our brotherhood. And I read the history of, and somehow I could see the similarity between Vincentian congregation, because they were most of my directors were retreat preachers, like charismatic preachers, and therefore I could see the that element of that charismatic spirituality is quite strong in our brotherhood, and so I thought I would try. So I wrote to Father Ken. And Father Ken said, I'm coming. He was going to go to India the following year, and he asked me to meet him. Yeah, and he took me in.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're so happy.
Yes.
You didn't give up.
Yeah, Johnny Baiju, Father Baiju.
I guess the question is, if his podcast is, how did growing up in like that place shape your understanding of God the Father?
Yeah. I had two special events in my life that sort of what do we call a personal revelation kind of moments about God being my Father. The first one was, first of all, a personal God. That was my first sort of that personal revelation. This was when I was preparing myself to receive First Holy Communion, and I was in fact I received communion and confirmation together in the same day. Just before the ceremonies starting, we were all like forming the lines for the procession, and the nuns who were preparing us, they found I was so sad because I'm not smiling, and my not usual joyful face is not there, and even wiping my tears. And so this nun took me aside and asked why I am. They knew that, of course, because other candidates had their parents or some siblings or relatives around them, and I was not. I was standing alone without any of my relatives of parent, and so I was. That was, I was so sad. So I told this nun, this is the reason, and she told me this. They gave me this big knowledge, but I didn't understand the entire thing. But something stood with me. She said, God of the Bible is God of orphans and widows, and He is your God first, and then only our God. And so that stood with me, like God of. I didn't understand the first bit, that God of orphans and widows, like how He is the God of orphans, but I understood that. But then I didn't know the story behind it.
Yeah.
But then He's your God, then only ours. That stood with me. So from that time on, when I say my God, I started meaning it, because I knew there's a personal God. I could call Him my God.
Wow.
And that's the first episode, first experience, first that private revelation that I can call God my God. He's a personal God.
So this sister really, like what she said was so impactful. She told you from the Bible.
That's right.
Actually,
That's
God
right.
is God's yours first. And,
yeah. And later, when I went to uni, when I was doing my biblical studies, it became quite more clear to me that God being, like, in the book of Exodus, He's saying that, when you come to the land, never forget the orphans and widows and the strangers, because you were that in Egypt. And I
that was in the law, wasn't it?
That's right.
Like from the early days, Moses.
That's right. God, orphans and widows appear in the Old Testament quite a lot, like as a God being their father, and because they were the weakest in the society. And therefore, if you look after the weakest in your society, you belong to God. That's how you portray that you are the people of God. So that came quite clear in my biblical studies later. But and then that's one moment. And I had a similar kind of an episode of experiencing that loneliness and pain of being an orphan again. Number of times.
Sure.
But the one became a bit strong when I was in year 8, year 8 to year 9. Like I was given a big award from my school and for writing an essay, and that was a prestigious kind of award. And but when I received my memento and the certificate, and I was coming home, and I was keeping, because we all had this big trunk box for every student in the orphanage had this trunk box.
It's like Harry Potter.
That's right. That's right. That's why you keep all your stuff in a very.
Yeah.
And then I was putting that there. I realized, when I visit my friends' houses, they all show gives awards in the showcase, and whereas I'm keeping in my trunk box, and that's I thought, and no one is to celebrate with me. I mean, priest said congratulations, and I mean, that's the maximum they could do, and also I think we distributed some sweets for that. But then, that's like if thinking of your parents, like if they were there, they would have been really happy. They would have been giving a special hug and a special congratulatory acts and all those things. So I was very sad again, and this time the regent brother of the orphanage, he took me aside, and same kind of conversations. I think I've expressed my sorrow over my orphanhood, and feeling that loneliness, and this time he gave me a very small book of St. Francis of Assisi, and it's called, I can't remember, it's it's the Lover of Assisi or something. It's a very small book, and so I was reading that book. It took 2 days to complete it, though it was small. And so one of the chapter really started speaking to me, because the episode when he was declaring that he is no longer father of his son of his own father, Peter Bernardin. That episode of him selling or giving all the money of his father and the silk clothes to the poor, inspired by the gospel. And father was angry, took him to the bishop, and in the bishop's court he's renouncing all his heritage and inheritance, and he's no longer son of his father, and from that moment he can call God Father with full freedom.
Yeah, it's quite a dramatic scene, wasn't it?
Yes,
like Francis' father wanted to lock him up.
That's right. That's right.
And then he goes to the bishop, sort it out, and he throws off everything.
That's right. That's right.
Even his clothes.
Yes.
It took a new father really to God. Yeah.
That's right. And in fact, he's choosing to be an orphan, to be a special son of the Father in heaven. And that thought also, because then I kind of define my orphanhood as a privilege to call God Father with full freedom.
Wow.
So one experience with the communion is that I have a personal God. I can call him my God, and here I can call him my Father with full freedom.
That's different, isn't it? That's a shift.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean it's a progression. Like you see, your God, my God, and here my Father. So that's.
It's like I believe he's my God. He has a preferential option for the for the poor.
That's right. Yeah.
For the poor, like
so it's a providing God, isn't it? Like he.
But then
he will
shift,
listen
he's
to
your family.
That's right.
That's
so he's
yeah.
And ever since when I say our Father, I really own it. Like our Father, my Father.
Yeah. Wow.
So these are the two great moments in my life. That
Wow.
Personal revelation kind of God in my life as a father, and then his and I always enjoyed that, being that special son of God.
Wow.
That's why if all my speeches after my ordination so final was, I always say that glory to God of orphans and widows. And
wow.
And so they are the two moments, and I experienced God's love. God being a God, Yeah.
two moments of like personal revelation, meaning God spoke to you or revealed something to you personally, and
Yeah.
the first one is, you know, God really cares about the orphans and the
Yeah.
widow, but also He's your Father. You've
Yeah.
got that
And I felt
family relationship.
those moments were really concrete. You know, like it's as if I could, you know, feel in my own. Because it's, you know, it's like a really, you know, it's speaking to your heart. You know, like very, very concretely, and so yeah. So when I look back now, I think there is a reason that I became an orphan. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I was just thinking as well, just seeing, because I've been on mission with you, and like just because of that humility, really that you had, like people can come to you and feel, you know, they approach you,
Yeah.
and then these days now you're in formation training the brothers, like it's like you're bringing that fatherhood
Yeah.
to the guys, like what you've experienced.
Yeah.
So it's a gift to other people in the end.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing, like, yeah, like I came as a very wounded person. Like, you know, of course, I had all this. I mean, I was well grounded on this experience of God's love, but then, you know, I had to work on my wounds and imperfections when I started here, and coming here, it was everything was quite different for me. Like
Coming to Australia.
coming to Australia,
Yeah.
like I was 21-year-old.
Gosh, I remember when you came.
Yes, 21
How
years
old are you?
old.
21.
21, but so
21.
young, like
Young,
a
yeah.
really young. Will look like
Yeah.
you're about, probably, I don't know, 16.
And very shy, very shy.
Yeah.
And language, I mean, I had very little English. And there's a funny story about that. Myself and Father Adam Crouch, we were sharing the room
Oh, yeah.
in my first year.
Yeah.
And
as seminarians, he was
that's right,
seminarian
as
then,
seminarians. And
Yeah.
Adam coming from Adelaide, perfect English, speaking Australian,
Yeah.
and I with my little English, and but people notice that we just say something and just laugh aloud, and they, what are they speaking to each other? They can't understand
You can't
each
understand
other.
what you-
Adam said once that I didn't understand whatever Baiju said, and Baiju didn't understand whatever I told him. But we never kept our mouths shut.
I can imagine.
Just talked and laughed anyway.
Yeah, but there is a, you know, he himself said that, you know, when human language fails, the language of love prevails.
Oh, yeah.
And
Good way to-
yes, only Adam can say that.
That's
And,
it.
yeah. So, but everything was different. Language was different. Culture was different. Because I haven't had that exposure in my own culture, because I was always inside the four corners of four walls of a house, you know,
Yeah,
or
sure.
institution, and coming into a Western country entirely different from our culture. And even my liturgical rite was quite different, because I was an Oriental.
Yeah, so
Man,
Your nation.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was fully an Oriental person coming into a Latin institute with a, you know, Latin expression of faith and celebration of sacraments. So that was, you know, I had to learn from the beginning. You know.
Yeah.
So in fact, I was sort of being, it's like a newborn in this culture, you know, like in all aspects. So the brotherhood really helped me. Formators really helped me. So when I look at the new brothers coming, you know, I could see, you know, my role is to, you know, help them to get into this new way of life. And they're coming with, you know, their own imperfections and their own wounds, but my job is to show, you know, the mercy that I received from my formators and my brotherhood back then. So so I could see.
Pass it back, pass it on.
That's right. Yeah, what I received, my role is to pass it on.
How do you describe the Father's love to people you're ministering to?
I mean, one good thing the Lord always. I mean, of course, I was deprived the love of my own family, but then the Lord always kept a little pocket of love wherever I was. You know, like in the orphanage, you know, like we could really look up to the priests because they were really smart and you know, educated, and so you you experience that, you know, Father's love through them. And like particularly when we are sick, you know, they took us to the hospital, and sometimes they used to bystand us, and that's when you really see the the tender heart coming when you're sick. And
what was it? They stand by you, you mean? Or
they bystanding, what do you call that? They will be taking care of you in the hospital, like they.
Yeah, okay, just accompanying you. So.
Yeah. And so certain occasions you really see that tender heart, they're looking after you.
Yeah, it's so good to have you with us, Fr Baiju, and just thank you for just sharing like about your story, like really, and just what God's done in your life, like just kind of summarizing, I guess, just like what you wanted to leave with those that have been watching and listening. You just, I guess, a bit of an encouragement for maybe people that do feel like they've had a bit of a hard run.
Yeah. I guess like when you look at the whole story of creation, God created everything with a purpose, and He kept them in a perfect rhythm. And when you look at your life, it's like you're part of a greater rhythm. Like you are placed in a particular time and context with a mission, a purpose, and in fact, God did that. Like God cannot do without loving you. And so I believe that whatever I became is part of that scheme of love, that plan of love. And so like all of everyone who came into existence is loved into existence, so the love is there, God's love is there. And but at times we couldn't find that's as a true reality, depending on our situations. Some had to go through a lot of struggles, sufferings, and some could be blinded against it. But that reality of God's love is there, and He would communicate that somehow. And that's what I learned from my life. That God, all that happened in my life was within the love of God, never outside the love of God, within His loving plan. It's never outside. So whatever happened, whatever is happening, and whatever is going to happen, it's all within that context of His love, and it's never outside the boundary of it.
That's deep, man. It's deep. Thanks, Baiju. Well, just thank you everybody for tuning in, and just for Baiju just for being with us today. So God bless you all from us here at MGLs. Thanks for listening to the MGL podcast. Tune in every Monday and Wednesday for new episodes. Connect with us on Instagram at MGL_priests and brothers. And that's all from us. Until next time.